If you're over 60 and still pouring the same milk into your glass every morning, the one you've trusted since childhood, I need you to hear me. Not because I want to scare you, but because I've seen what it does. I'm Dr. James. I've spent over 3 decades sitting across from men just like you. Strong men. Proud men. Men who never missed a day of work, never complained, never gave up. But who slowly, quietly, started losing something they couldn't quite put into words. They thought it was just age. That softening. That lack of drive. That quiet retreat from intimacy, not because they didn't want it, but because their body stopped responding. They blamed themselves. Or worse, they blamed their partner. But what if I told you the real problem might be in your refrigerator? I'm talking about milk. The one thing you were told makes you strong. The thing you were taught was healthy. The stuff your dad poured next to his eggs. The thing you still reach for without thinking, because it's what you've always done. But here's the truth, that milk might be quietly killing your erections. Now, I know that sounds extreme. But let me explain. When you're over 60, everything about your body starts to shift. Blood vessels stiffen. Hormones decline. Muscle mass starts fading. And circulation, the very thing that gives you life, energy, and yes, erections, begins to slow. So what does milk have to do with that? Well, many of the most common milks men drink, whole milk, sweetened condensed milk, flavored plant milks, are loaded with things your body no longer handles well, saturated fat, sugar, additives, hormones. And every morning, as you pour that glass thinking you're doing something good, you're actually clogging your arteries, spiking your blood sugar, and triggering inflammation. And when blood can't flow freely, it doesn't just affect your heart or your brain, it affects your ability to function as a man. Let's be clear. Erections are not just about desire. They are about blood flow. Pure and simple. And anything that blocks or slows that flow, anything that inflames the system, will show up where you feel it most. And here's the kicker, most men never connect the dots. I had a patient, mid-60s, retired firefighter. Fit, tough, disciplined. He came in, frustrated. Said he felt off. No energy. No interest in sex. Just, flat. He ate clean, exercised, took supplements. But every morning, same routine, bowl of cereal and a tall glass of whole milk. When I told him that single habit might be silently undercutting everything else he was doing, he looked at me like I'd just insulted his childhood. I've been drinking milk since I was a kid, he said. You're telling me that's the problem? I didn't say a word. Just showed him the labs. Elevated LDL. Borderline glucose. Signs of systemic inflammation. We swapped his milk. Just that. Nothing else. 3 weeks later, he called. Said, "Doc, I don't know what you did, but I'm waking up different. I feel like I'm back in my body." That's not a miracle. That's biology. That's what happens when you stop choking your system with the wrong fuel. So I ask you, what's in your glass right now? Because what you drink each morning isn't just habit. It's a decision. And that decision, repeated daily, is either restoring your manhood, or slowly taking it away. In a moment, I'll show you exactly which types of milk are the worst offenders, and which alternatives can actually help you regain strength, memory, sleep, and yes, performance. But first, let's talk about why so many men fall into the same trap, and why it feels so hard to let go of what we've always trusted. I get it. Letting go of something you've trusted for 60 years doesn't happen overnight. There's something sacred about that morning ritual. You walk into the kitchen, the light's still soft, the house is quiet, and you reach for the same carton you've reached for your whole life. Maybe you even hear your father's voice in your head, "Milk makes you strong, son." You pour it without thinking. Maybe over cereal. Maybe into your coffee. Maybe just a glass on its own. It feels right? Comforting. Familiar. Like muscle memory from a time when life was simpler and your body just worked. But here's the hard truth, and I say this not to judge you, but to protect you. Familiar doesn't mean safe. And what used to be healthy back then may be quietly harming you now. You see, most of us were raised in a time when milk was marketed as the foundation of strength. It was on every breakfast table, every school lunch tray, every doctor's checklist. If you didn't drink milk, people looked at you sideways. It wasn't just a food. It was part of your identity. That's the power of nostalgia. It doesn't just remind you of the past, it convinces you the past was better. And that doing what you've always done is the safest way forward. But your body after 60 is not the body you had at 16. Or even 40. The enzymes that helped you digest lactose diminished. The metabolism that used to burn off those calories slower. The blood vessels that used to expand effortlessly now stiffer, narrower, less forgiving. But nostalgia doesn't care about biology. It whispers, "Come on, it's just milk. You've been drinking it your whole life." And before you know it, that same glass that once fueled your youth is quietly draining your strength, one sip at a time. Let me tell you about Frank, one of my patients. Vietnam veteran. Tough as nails. A man's man. When I asked him about his diet, he grinned and said, "Doc, I keep it simple. Eggs, toast, glass of milk. Like I've always done." But his labs told a different story. Elevated blood pressure. Lower testosterone. Pre-diabetic markers. When I asked if he'd ever considered switching the milk, he chuckled. "You're not taking that away from me too, are you?" I wasn't. I was offering him a trade. I said, "Frank, you fought a war. You built a life. But now your body's asking for backup. Not a revolution, just a smarter partner." We swapped his dairy for a clean, unsweetened plant-based alternative rich in protein and nutrients. Gave it a few weeks. He came back, not just lighter, but sharper. Clearer. He said, "I thought I was just getting old. Turns out, I was just stuck." That's what nostalgia can do. It traps us in patterns that feel right, but don't work anymore. And that's the most dangerous kind of habit. The one that wears a familiar face. So if you're holding on to that glass of milk each morning, ask yourself. Are you drinking it because your body needs it? Or because your memories do? Because the truth is, you don't owe loyalty to a beverage. You owe it to the man you are today. And the man you are today, he deserves better fuel. He deserves choices that support his heart, his mind, his strength, and his sex life. In just a moment, I'll show you the first milk that's doing more harm than good, no matter how wholesome the label looks. But first, I want you to understand this. Real health begins when we let go of what used to work, and choose what actually works now. It's hard to say this out loud, because I know what whole milk means to a lot of men. It's more than a drink. It's a symbol. Strength. Simplicity. Manhood. You grew up with it. Maybe your dad drank it straight from the jug. Maybe your grandpa poured it over hot oatmeal before heading out to work the farm. So when I tell you whole milk could be one of the biggest threats to your heart, your circulation, and yes, your erections, it's not just surprising. It's personal. But it's the truth. And the science backs it up. See, whole milk is loaded with saturated fat, about 4.5 to 5 grams per cup. Doesn't sound like much, right? But when you're over 60, and your arteries are already stiffening, your testosterone is already dipping, and your blood flow is already under strain, that fat hits harder than it did at 25. Your cardiovascular system is like a highway. In your younger years, it's wide open, freshly paved, traffic flowing freely. But as you age, that highway starts narrowing. Cracks form. Congestion builds. And then, day after day, you pour whole milk into your system. Not just the fat, but also the cholesterol. It doesn't cause a heart attack overnight, but it slowly, silently contributes to plaque buildup. That means less oxygen getting to your brain, your muscles, and your bedroom performance. Blood flow is everything. It's not just about staying alive, it's about feeling alive. And if blood can't get where it needs to go, you know exactly where that shows up first. I had a patient, 67, named Earl. Retired electrician. Big hands, quiet voice. Told me he was feeling slower in the mornings, but shrugged it off like most men do. We did some digging. Blood pressure was creeping up. LDL cholesterol too. His morning routine. 2 eggs, 2 slices of toast, 1 tall glass of whole milk. Every day for 40 years. "Doc," he said, "it's just milk. It can't be that bad." I told him the truth. "Earl, that milk might be the reason your blood isn't flowing like it used to." We switched him to a heart-healthy alternative, low in saturated fat, no cholesterol, no lactose, and gave it 4 weeks. He didn't just feel better, he moved better. More energy. Clearer thinking. Less stiffness. And when I asked about intimacy, he smiled. Let's just say things are back on schedule. That's what can happen when you stop clogging your arteries and start giving your body what it actually needs. And there's more. Whole milk is a calorie bomb in disguise. Nearly 150 calories per cup. Drink 2 or 3 glasses a day, and you're adding an extra 300 to 450 calories without even noticing. At this age, every extra pound strains your joints, worsens insulin resistance, and speeds up hormone decline. And let's not forget digestion. After 60, many men develop some level of lactose intolerance, even if they never had issues before. That bloated, sluggish, gassy feeling after breakfast. It might not be age. It might be dairy. But most guys don't want to hear it. Because changing your milk feels like admitting you're getting old. Let me reframe that. It's not about getting old. It's about getting smart. You've carried your body for over 6 decades. It's earned the right to be fueled with something better. And whole milk? That's the past. It served you once, but it's not serving you now. So what comes next? There's another kind of milk that looks innocent, even sweet. It's thick, creamy, and probably hiding in your pantry right now. But it's loaded with something far worse than fat. Let's talk about the real sugar bomb that's wrecking your blood vessels and your brain, 1 tablespoon at a time. It's the one you probably don't even think about. Just a drizzle in your morning coffee. A spoonful over oatmeal. Maybe it reminds you of your mother's kitchen, a holiday pie, or the way your grandkids light up when you make their favorite dessert. Sweetened condensed milk doesn't look dangerous. It looks nostalgic. Comforting. But let me tell you what it's really doing to your body, especially after 60. It's a sugar bomb in disguise. Just 1 tablespoon contains around 10 grams of added sugar. But let's be honest, no one stops at 1 tablespoon. A few spoonfuls here and there, and you've just hit half your daily limit of added sugar before breakfast. And here's the part most men never hear. That sugar is wrecking your blood flow, your brain, your hormones, and your manhood. Let's start with what it does to your circulation. That sweet, sticky syrup spikes your blood sugar fast. Your pancreas goes into overdrive trying to produce enough insulin to bring it back down. But the older you get, the slower your system reacts. And that repeated spike crash cycle? It's not just exhausting, it slowly leads to insulin resistance. That's the doorway to prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, and a host of circulation problems that shrink your blood vessels and starve your body of oxygen-rich blood. And where does that lack of blood flow show up first? You already know the answer. Now, let's talk about your brain. Men over 60 are already at higher risk for cognitive decline. Add daily doses of condensed milk, and the sugar it brings, and you've got a recipe for mental fog. I've seen it happen over and over. Men who forget where they placed the keys. Lose their train of thought mid-sentence. Start mixing up appointments. They say, "Doc, I think my memory's slipping." And the first thing I ask is, how much sugar are you eating, before 9 a.m.? Because studies now show that excess sugar is directly linked to cognitive decline. Some researchers even refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes, that's how serious the connection is. But it's not just about memory. It's about motivation, clarity, and mood. High sugar intake leads to inflammation, and chronic inflammation messes with your hormones, including testosterone. And without testosterone, you don't just lose performance, you lose that inner fire. The edge. The confidence. Sweetened condensed milk might taste like comfort, but inside your body, it's doing the opposite. I remember one patient, Harold, 71, told me, "I don't eat junk. Just coffee and a little sweet milk in the morning." But that little sweet milk, it was enough to keep his blood sugar elevated, his energy crashing, and his testosterone stuck in the basement. We made one change. Swapped out the condensed milk for a clean, low-sugar creamer made from unsweetened almond and a dash of cinnamon. 3 weeks later, Harold walked in with a different posture. Sharper eyes. More color in his face. "I didn't know how heavy my mornings felt," he said, "until I finally felt light again." That's what happens when you stop feeding the fog, and start feeding your body. And we haven't even touched on digestion. That thick, syrupy texture slows down your gut, causing bloating, fatigue, and sluggish bowel movements. It doesn't just affect your day, it weighs down your entire system. So here's the question I ask every man I work with. Are you eating for comfort or for clarity? Because after 60, your body's not asking for sweetness, it's begging for support. And what comes next is a healthy milk that wears a clean label but hides something far worse than sugar. A silent intruder that builds up in your body and puts your kidneys, and your energy, at risk. Let's uncover the truth about rice milk. It sounds healthy, doesn't it? Plant-based. Dairy-free. Easy to digest. That's how rice milk is sold to you. It looks innocent, just water and rice. No fat. No lactose. Light on the stomach. But here's what most men over 60 don't realize. Rice milk is one of the most misleading, nutritionally empty choices you can make. Let's break it down. Rice milk is basically processed white rice and water, blended, strained, and sometimes sweetened. That's it. No real protein. No healthy fats. Very few vitamins or minerals. 1 cup of rice milk has less than 1 gram of protein. That might not sound alarming at first, until you remember what's happening inside your body after 60. You're losing muscle. Not because you're not trying. Not because you're lazy. But because aging naturally chips away at muscle mass. And without adequate protein, especially in your morning routine, your muscles get weaker. Your posture slouches. Your stability falters. Even your testosterone, which depends on protein to support hormone production, starts to dip. So when a man tells me, "Doc, I switched to rice milk because I thought it was safer," I get where he's coming from. But I also tell him the truth. Rice milk is giving you almost nothing, and taking more than you know. Let's talk about arsenic. Yes, arsenic. Rice plants naturally absorb more arsenic from the soil than most other crops. And when that rice is processed into milk, the arsenic doesn't go away. It gets concentrated. Over time, those small, daily exposures build up in your body, putting silent stress on your kidneys, liver, and even your nervous system. I once had a patient named Don. Former teacher. Thoughtful guy, paid attention to labels. He'd switched to rice milk 5 years prior. He came in feeling off, tired, foggy, achy. His kidney function tests were slightly elevated, but nothing screamed emergency. Just a slow, quiet decline. We looked at his habits, and there it was, 2 cups of rice milk a day, every day, thinking it was the gentle, healthy choice. I had him cut it out. Added a higher protein, cleaner plant-based milk instead. 3 months later, his numbers improved, his mind felt clearer, and he said, "Doc, I didn't even know I felt bad, until I didn't anymore." That's how sneaky this stuff is. And it gets worse. Rice milk has a very high glycemic index, meaning it spikes your blood sugar fast. It hits your system almost like soda. And if you're already borderline diabetic or dealing with insulin resistance, like half the men I see over 60, that's a disaster waiting to happen. You get the crash. The fatigue. The hunger that shows up an hour later. And the worst part? You blame yourself, thinking you're just getting old. But it's not you. It's the wrong fuel. Even digestion takes a hit. Rice milk offers no fiber, no gut support, and in sweetened varieties, can worsen bloating and sluggishness. So here's the real question. Why drink something that gives you no protein, spikes your blood sugar, may contain arsenic, stresses your kidneys, and leaves you hungry and tired by 10 a.m.? That's not nourishment. That's a hollow promise. I always tell my patients, don't fall for the label. Health isn't about what sounds soft and safe, it's about what actually supports your aging body. And rice milk? It's not helping. But don't worry, what comes next is even more common, even more deceiving. It says, plant-based, but it's more like dessert. Let's talk about the flavored milks quietly sabotaging your testosterone and digestion every single day. You walk down the grocery aisle and see them lined up like candy in disguise: vanilla almond milk, chocolate oat milk, hazelnut soy milk. The packaging is clean. The labels say, plant-based, low-fat, even, fortified with vitamins. It all sounds good. Healthy, even. But let me be real with you. If it tastes like dessert, it probably acts like one inside your body. Flavored plant milks are one of the sneakiest traps men over 60 fall into. You think you're making a better choice by ditching cow's milk. You're trying to cut cholesterol, avoid lactose, be smarter. I respect that. But these flavored milks, they're not helping you. They're hurting you. Let's start with the sugar. Many flavored plant milks contain 10 to 15 grams of added sugar per cup. That's the same amount you'll find in some sodas. And it's not always labeled clearly. Sometimes it's called cane juice. Other times it's agave syrup. Or natural sweetener. But your body doesn't care what it's called. Sugar is sugar. And the older you get, the harder it is for your body to bounce back from daily sugar hits. That sweetened almond milk you pour into your smoothie. It's silently raising your blood sugar, stressing your pancreas, and triggering inflammation, the root cause of heart disease, brain fog, low testosterone, and yes, erectile dysfunction. I had a patient, Joe, 74 years old, who proudly told me he'd switched from dairy to chocolate almond milk. Dr. James, it's plant-based. That's gotta be good, right? But when we looked closer, that daily glass of chocolate almond milk was flooding his system with sugar, artificial thickeners, and hormone-disrupting additives, while delivering almost no usable nutrients. He thought he was doing the right thing. But his energy was crashing by noon. His gut was a mess. And intimacy? Practically gone. We cut it out. Switched to an unsweetened version. Added some cinnamon and vanilla extract at home if he wanted flavor. 3 weeks later, he was back in my office saying, "Doc, I didn't realize how foggy I was until it lifted." That's how it works. These small, daily habits either stack in your favor, or against you. And it's not just the sugar. Most flavored milks are thickened with gums and emulsifiers to give them that creamy texture. Carrageenan. Guar gum. Xanthan gum. These might sound harmless, but studies now show they can disrupt your gut microbiome, irritate digestion, and interfere with hormone absorption, especially testosterone. For a man over 60, who's already dealing with slower digestion and declining hormone levels, that's a toxic combination. Then you've got synthetic vitamins. Labels say, fortified with calcium, vitamin D, and B12. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem, many of those vitamins are added in forms your aging body can't properly absorb. So while it looks good on paper, your cells aren't actually getting the benefit. It's just shelf dressing. So you're left with a sugary, artificially thickened, nutrient-poor beverage that spikes your blood sugar, disrupts your gut, and makes you think you're doing something good, when in fact, you're setting yourself back. But I'm not here to take away flavor. I'm here to give you back control. You deserve a milk that supports your heart, your brain, your digestion, and your manhood. Not one that sabotages it behind a fancy label. At some point, we all hit that moment. You look in the mirror and the man staring back feels different. Not worse. Not broken. Just not the same guy who used to wake up with fire in his legs and clarity in his mind. Maybe it's the slower mornings. Maybe it's the way your knees sound when you stand. Maybe it's how your drive, your focus, your edge, your performance, just isn't what it used to be. You think, this must be aging. But let me tell you something as a doctor who's worked with men for over 3 decades. Yes, your body changes after 60, but that doesn't mean it has to fall apart. What it does mean is that what used to work, doesn't anymore. The fuel you used in your 20s, 30s, even your 50s, your body doesn't process it the same way now. Your digestion slows down. Your hormones shift. Your arteries stiffen. Your ability to absorb key nutrients drops. So holding on to old habits, especially the ones tied to emotion, routine, or nostalgia, can quietly hurt you. And that includes what's in your glass every morning. Milk, for many men, isn't just food. It's tradition. It's what dad drank. What grandpa swore by. It's poured next to eggs and toast like clockwork. But the man you are today, is not the boy you once were. That glass of whole milk you've been loyal to for 40 years. It might be slowing your blood flow, inflaming your gut, and draining your testosterone. That sweetened condensed milk you stir into your coffee. It might be spiking your blood sugar and clouding your memory. Even that plant-based, vanilla oat milk with the pretty label. If it's loaded with sugar and gums, it's not helping your heart, your gut, or your strength. So here's the shift. Stop drinking for comfort. Start drinking for function. Your body today needs 3 things from your milk. 1. Support for blood flow and testosterone. 2. Gentle, easy to absorb nutrients. 3. 0 ingredients that stress your system. And the good news is, you don't have to give up milk entirely. You just have to upgrade it. When men come into my office and finally make that switch, something happens. They don't just feel better. They walk taller. They think clearer. They get back that spark. Because when your body gets the right support, it rewards you fast. Within days, inflammation drops. Within weeks, digestion improves, energy stabilizes, blood pressure dips. And within a month, your confidence starts to return. In ways you can feel. This isn't about giving up pleasure. It's about redefining what pleasure means at this stage in life. For some, that means a calm gut. A sharp mind. A deep, uninterrupted sleep. For others, it's the return of something more private, yet no less powerful. I've seen both. So if you're ready to stop pretending your body hasn't changed, and start honoring the man you are now, then you're ready for the next step. Because up next, I'll show you the 4 milks that actually support men over 60. They're not flashy. They don't scream from the shelf. But they work, with your body, for your health, and toward the strength you still have waiting inside you. And the first one? It's humble, fermented, and misunderstood. But it might just be the most powerful milk you've never given a chance. Let's stop focusing on what to cut, and finally talk about what to add. Because the truth is, your body isn't broken. It's just been waiting for the right support. And that support might come from something as simple as what you pour into your glass every morning. These 4 milks aren't just replacements. They're strategic upgrades, designed to work with your body, not against it. To restore energy, sharpen your mind, calm your digestion, and yes, rekindle your sex drive. Let's break them down. 1. Fermented soy milk, strength and hormone support. I know, soy milk might raise some eyebrows. You've heard rumors, soy lowers testosterone, or it's not manly. But here's the reality, fermented soy milk is an entirely different story. When soy is fermented, it becomes easier to digest, richer in nutrients, and packed with isoflavones, plant compounds that support hormonal balance, prostate health, and even cognitive function. Plus, it contains complete protein, meaning it has all 9 essential amino acids your body needs to maintain muscle and strength as you age. I had a patient in his early 70s switch to fermented soy milk. Within a month, he told me, "Doc, I don't feel like I'm fading anymore. I feel steady again." That's not magic. That's science meeting your biology. 2. Unsweetened almond milk, brain and circulation booster. This one's clean, light, and surprisingly powerful. Unsweetened almond milk has 0 cholesterol, almost no sugar, and is rich in vitamin E, a natural antioxidant that protects your brain from oxidative stress. Why does that matter? Because your brain after 60 needs defense. Every day it's under attack from inflammation, poor blood flow, and nutrient deficiencies. Vitamin E supports mental clarity, memory, and even mood stability. And almond milk's monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy fats found in olive oil, help support circulation, which means better performance both mentally and physically. No fog. No crash. Just quiet energy that lasts. 3. Calcium-fortified oat milk, sleep and bone support. If you're not sleeping well, or waking up stiff and sore, this one's for you. Calcium-fortified oat milk offers the bone-building power of calcium and vitamin D, paired with soluble fiber that helps lower cholesterol and support heart health. Warm a glass before bed, and you'll be surprised at how your nervous system responds. It doesn't knock you out. It settles you. Gently signals your body that it's safe to rest. One of my patients called it his nightcap that doesn't fight back. And I couldn't have said it better. 4. Flax milk, the omega-3 powerhouse for erections and joints. This one's the sleeper hit. Most guys have never even heard of it. But flax milk is loaded with ALA omega-3s, which fight inflammation at the cellular level. And inflammation is the silent enemy behind joint pain, mental fatigue, and, yes, erectile dysfunction. Flax milk also supports testosterone, reduces arterial stiffness, and improves blood vessel flexibility. Which translates directly into stronger, longer-lasting erections and better overall energy. Plus, it's often fortified with B12, vitamin D, and calcium, making it a triple win for energy, immunity, and bone support. No bloating. No hormone disruption. Just clean, functional fuel. So here's what I tell my patients. You don't need all 4 at once. Start with 1. Try it for a week. Pay attention to your energy, your digestion, your clarity, your confidence. Because when your milk changes, so does your day. And coming up next, I'll show you exactly how to build this into your daily routine, without overwhelm, without confusion, and without giving up taste or comfort. One smart switch at a time. That's how real change begins. Change doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't need to overhaul your whole life, throw out your fridge, or follow some complicated plan written for 25-year-olds with personal trainers. You need one thing. A daily ritual that works for the man you are today. And believe it or not, it starts with what you pour into your glass each morning. I've seen it happen over and over. Men walk into my office feeling foggy, stiff, bloated, disconnected. They're not broken, they're just running on the wrong fuel. And when we change one habit, just one, like swapping their old milk for a version that supports circulation, digestion, hormones, and energy, everything else starts falling into place. Because the first win leads to the next one. So let's keep it simple. Here's what I tell my patients to do. Step 1, choose your milk based on your priority. If your focus is muscle and hormone support, go with fermented soy milk. If you need mental clarity and smoother circulation, try unsweetened almond milk. If sleep is your struggle and your bones feel weak, drink calcium-fortified oat milk, warmed up. If joint pain or low libido is dragging you down, add flax milk with omega-3s. Pick one. Commit to it for 7 days. Step 2, set your anchor time. This matters more than people think. A morning ritual grounds your day. Evening rituals help you sleep and recover. If you're always rushed in the morning, try an evening glass of oat or flax milk. If you're someone who likes structure, make it your breakfast staple. Use it in your coffee, in a smoothie, over your cereal, or just drink it straight. Whatever fits your rhythm, just do it daily. Step 3, pair it with intention. This is where the real shift happens. Don't just gulp it down like any other drink. Take 30 seconds while you sip it to check in with yourself. Ask. How do I feel today? Where does my body feel tight or heavy? What would feeling strong look like right now? It sounds small, but I've watched men turn this quiet moment into something sacred. A pause to remember, I'm still in charge here. Because this isn't about milk. It's about power. The power to choose something better. The power to feel like a man again, one small win at a time. I had a patient, Larry, 69, former truck driver. Spent decades putting everyone else first. Wife, kids, job. He came to me feeling worn out. "Doc, I feel invisible," he said. "Like I'm just existing." We didn't start with pills. Or supplements. We started with a smoothie. Flax milk. Half a banana. A scoop of plant protein. Cinnamon. He made it every morning. Same time. Same spot by the window. 2 weeks later, he called me and said, "It's not just the smoothie. It's that I'm finally doing something for me." That's what this ritual is about. Not the milk, the momentum. Because when you reclaim one part of your day, you start reclaiming the rest. And tomorrow morning, when you open that fridge, you'll have a decision to make. Go back to what's familiar. Or move forward with what actually fuels you. Up next, I'll show you how to take this even further, by understanding what this shift really means, not just for your body, but for the man you're becoming. This next part. It's not nutritional advice. It's personal. This whole conversation, it may have started with milk. But if you've been paying attention, you already know, it's not really about milk at all. It's about you. The man you used to be. The man you are today. And the man you still have the power to become. See, the world doesn't talk to men after 60 the way it should. It either treats you like you're fragile, or it pretends you don't exist. No one tells you how confusing it can feel when your body starts changing, when the fire dims a little, when you go from leading the room to fading into the background. No one tells you how quiet the losses can be. Not just in the bedroom. But in energy. In identity. In confidence. But let me tell you something, those losses aren't permanent. I've worked with thousands of men over the years. And the ones who thrive in this stage of life, they're not superhuman. They're not lucky. They're just willing to let go of what no longer serves them, and choose better, one small shift at a time. That's what you've done by watching this far. You didn't just learn about 4 bad milks and 4 better ones. You took back control of something that most men let slip away, ownership of your health. That first glass you change in the morning. It's not just a new beverage. It's a declaration. I'm not done. I still matter. I still have power over how I live, how I feel, and how I show up in the world. Because you do. Your story doesn't end with used to. It begins with what's next. And what's next could be clearer thinking. Deeper sleep. More strength in your legs. A stronger pulse in your intimacy. A return to feeling alive. You don't need to move mountains. You just need to move today. One smart habit. One clear decision. One honest moment where you say, I'm ready to stop coasting, and start climbing again. Because the man you're becoming, he doesn't chase the past. He builds what matters now. So when you walk into your kitchen tomorrow morning, and you open that fridge, I want you to remember this. That choice, what you pour, what you consume, what you allow into your body, reflects more than taste. It reflects who you believe you are becoming. And if this message hit something in you, if you felt seen, if you're ready to keep going, then don't stop here. Click the like button. Share this with another man who needs it. And drop a comment that simply says, I'm ready. And if you believe this kind of honest, life-changing advice should reach more men out there feeling lost, tired, or forgotten, please consider supporting this channel. Your donation helps us create more content, reach more people, and remind men everywhere that they are not past their prime, they're standing at the start of something powerful. Thank you for being here. I'm Dr. James, and I'll see you in the next one.